So quickly, just to hook those boxes together, we have the strings 1 and 2 open and strings 1 and 2 at fret 2 for that little box in here. That's that little house box that I just did in the other video. And you come down here to this other E, another E, which is the string 2 fret 5, which is the same note as string 1 open, but you always have a chance for vibrato on this note that you don't have on the open string, which makes it really nice for blues and rock. But we have strings 1 and 2 at fret 3 and strings 1 and 2 at fret 5, and then the house structure here at string 3 fret 4. So we have this little box in here. You go down to the next E, which is the note at string 3 fret 9 with a dot there, and string 1 and 2 at fret 8 and fret 10, strings 1 and 2, little box in there. In there. And then a little box down here at string strings 1 and 2 at fret 12, strings 1 and 2 or at fret 10, and strings 1 and 2 at fret 12. And then at the E note is at string 1 fret 12. Can't stress enough that you want to learn where the E notes are, because they're going to be, for the most part, the target notes that you're shooting for whenever you get into a little run. I'll try to explain that as I go through this. It'll hurt the continuity, but it's better to know like what's actually happening here and where I am on the fretboard. The final box for here, you also have a box down here, and depending on how big your guitar is, you have strings 1 and 2 at fret 12 and at fret 14, and then the cap at string 3 fret 13. So if you get a little, this same type thing, that's that same E, A, something like that. And I just want to like hook these boxes together and try to explain what I'm doing and where I am as best I can. So let's start up. Here we go. Now I went from this first little box down to this other little box right here. Now I just slid down to this other box here, down at fret 8 or 8 and 10, and I'm ending that little phrase on this E, and then and that's going between these two boxes at 10 and 12 here. Anything like that, and I slid down to this other box at fret 12. So I can just connect those, and I'll just connect them so you get the idea of moving along here and shooting for this E note, usually shooting for that E note as your target note, finishing the phrase there, and then picking it up on that note or on one of the nearby notes. And these nearby notes are all part of the major and minor pentatonics, or as in up here, they're part of the Dorian scale. So if we got that going, just Now, I went out of the box a little there, or I was stating what I showed you, and I really wanted to go out of that box because a lot of that I was playing in a minor pentatonic, and some of these boxes are the major pentatonic. I told you how to tell that when you're only 2 apart from the E, when you're only going 2 up instead of 3. That is the minor pentatonic, and the major pentatonic goes. You can hear that's a happier sound then. Happier sound than that sound in the minor pentatonic. So I'm just hooking all this up from So they're just some sounds, just hooking up where all those boxes are. You can have a lot of fun with that. Make a little tape of, just an E, just a little 12-bar blues thing, and work at that, or just work at putting these together. And that's just hooking up those notes that I just showed you in those boxes. Visualize it in terms of those boxes, and by doing that you are identifying where the E notes are, which is helpful to begin with, and which I really am trying to really push you to do that. Once you learn the E notes, you then learn the accompanying notes that work with that. And you see I'm just working up and down that, connecting those boxes. Can't stress that enough. That's what, it's not magic. That's when you see guitarists working up and down the neck, which seems like a mystery to you. They're connecting the locations that are the hot spots for playing major and minor pentatonic scales. And I just gave you several hot spots on strings 1 and 2. Now there are more as you go up the guitar, but if you get familiar with that and just having fun with the guitar, just do it to, oh, that sounds really cool, and you'll feel really good when you when you can just connect 2 boxes like that and make it sound neat, so and fun, and you'll have fun. So any questions, just direct that on Wednesday, and I can talk about that again, even though that is not the ultimate purpose of the guitar. It's finger picking the Delta blues, but all the stuff that I just showed you comes right out of the Delta blues, all those, all those sounds are in the Delta blues, and we'll get to them. And I'm going to give you one that I'm going to send with this. And Howard said, could I send one? And I said, well, it's a good idea. I'm going to send one that I'll really break down each week, a different lick in Delta blues with a monotonic bass. Okay, I'll see you on Wednesday.